My life is interesting. I'm an alcoholic. I'm a restaurant owner. I owned a lot of businesses. I did some real estate spec, and I made a lot of money, lots and lots of millions, and it's all gone. I now live in Destin, Florida. I opened another restaurant down here, and it didn't work. It didn't even come close to working, and it was my 10th restaurant in my career. So I had a little breakdown. I kind of lost it. It was my last, I had lost a lot of the money over the years, and we'll cover that. Some of it I got screwed out of, some of the alcoholism caused, some was just bad investments and bad timing, but they're interesting stories along the way. I've never been happier, and I've got nothing. I filed for bankruptcy. It's humiliating, but it saved me and my family from a lot of these horrible landlords that were coming after us. After COVID, we were, everybody went out of business, but I had a couple stores that had leases on them that were still $1 million leases left on them, and they're suing me for them. So I was down to nothing. When I came down here, I had $600,000, maybe $700,000 to our name, and we invested it all in the restaurant. And I borrowed money from a couple people, and it went to zero. Interesting, it was my 10th restaurant, all the experience in the world. I worked this restaurant personally, my wife and I and my son. No way I can lose. I'm doing it. That's no longer where I got multiple stores and I'm depending on managers to run the stores right. So it's, that was really a blow. It really hit me hard. And what I'm going to talk about throughout this is that it actually saved my life. I've never been happier with nothing. And when I say nothing, I mean we have nothing. We live in a little apartment, but I got a great wife of 37 years. All the cliches are coming in my life. Money can't buy you happiness, so yeah, I knew that. It brought a lot of fun toys and brought a lot of angst and it was hard. I mean, you're going to get a lot of sympathy for that. It was hard, meaning I never asked to be rich. I did what I did. I'm an uneducated high school dropout. I did go back and get my high school degree, but I've never been to college. And I got super rich really quick, like in my early 30s, and I was like a sports figure that signed a big contract. I didn't know I had tons of money coming in, so I bought all the stuff. And if you think that's fun, I'll show you the pictures of the boats, you name a car, I had it. The Bentleys, the Maseratis, the Corvette. I don't know, I had them all. Who cares? They're all gone. All right, I'm gonna head down to the beach here. My dad loaned me $100,000 so I could open my first restaurant. I had a little bit of money from a rehab project I did with a friend of mine, a little bit of money. And I was fortunate my dad loaned me the money. So he wanted it back with interest. He got it back within 7 months, I think. And so that was my first restaurant. I made $175,000 a year, and I thought I was the richest guy in the world. I had no idea lots of millions were coming. So I opened another one. I mean, I was go. I was young. I had ideas, and we opened another one and another one. And then we sold the first one, we sold the second one, and then we took that money, we bought real estate. I had one house I bought to live in that I tore down, I was building. I bought some land for $500,000 and was in the middle of developing that when a guy pulls up in a limousine and made me an offer I couldn't refuse, so I took it. It was a lot of money. That was like out of the movies. The guy pulls up in the limo and I'm under construction, we're pouring the concrete, and I'm on the job site. And he, it's one of those guys, he's got all the money in the world, so he said, I'm going to buy this land from you. And I said, no, I'm building a big giant house here, and you could buy the house if you want. I'll show you the plans. He said, no, you're going to stop construction today, and you and I are going to make a deal in the car. So we did. And it was a good deal. Hey, he turned out to be a really good guy, too. So anyway, so that netted us another, a lot of money, $500,000, $400,000. So I don't remember. It was a long time ago. So I bought more land in Highland Park. I built another beautiful home up there. I've got a good story on that one when it came time to sell. It's the only time I actually got to screw a lawyer over, and it felt great. It still feels great, and it's 30 years later. I hope he learned a lesson, but that was a good story. I don't have a lot of good stories where I beat the lawyers. The lawyers beat the crap out of me my whole life. The more money I had, the more lawyers that came after me. The wealthier I got, the more complicated my life got. And I had a good friend of mine tell me the more keys you got on your keychain, the more worries you got. Well, I had a lot of worries. I had a lot of real estate. I always had like 3 restaurants going at the same time, and other ventures I went into. I started trading. I always said, why? I got millions of dollars now, and I'm 2 years old, 33, and I always loved the market. I always loved. I wanted to be a trader. I wanted to, be one of those hard luck stories that you have no education, you go down on the floor and start. Nobody would touch me. I interviewed at probably 5 different houses. I had connections and still didn't work. They didn't want me. So that's okay. A lot of people didn't want me. I stayed focused. I always thought, why don't you, if you got millions of dollars, why don't you slide it in the markets? I started looking at charts in the market and studying a little bit on that, and learning a little bit about scalping, just reading articles. But I had the money now, so I opened up one of those little, discount trading accounts, and I think I put $1 million in there to start, and all I would do is buy equities that were boring and clip them off for 10 cents, a nickel or 10 cents. Every penny was $1,000. So I was doing these $10,000 trades, and they were working out pretty easy, like really easy. And I had losses. I had a lot of losses. I've had losses as much as $1 million. I've lost that once. I was $977,000 I lost in one trade. And I've had a couple. I had a $750,000 day. And I had one trade that was over $1 million. Otherwise, I was just a scumbag scalper. I'm picking up 10, 20 grand at a time. But several times a day. So it was silly money. I sat down for dinner one night. The kids were little. And while we were building one of our houses, we rented some castle on the lake for an exorbitant amount of money. But I came down for dinner all pissed off. And Mary goes, what is wrong with you? You've been angry all night, ever since you sat down. And I said, you know what the problem is? I was up $107,000 and I ended up making $9,000. I gave it all back but $9,000. Can you fucking believe that? And the wonderful Mary said, do you hear yourself? You were cleaning gutters 10 years ago. Trying to make $39 cleaning someone's gutters. And you're pissed because you only made $9,000, but you were up 107 at one time. That's trading. It makes you sick. It's a lot of my friends are traders, and they'll tell you the same thing. It's the disease. Call us trader trash. I'm not a trader though. That's for professionals. I had a hunch. I bet a bunch, and it worked out well. Made lots of millions. So until I went into AFib in the middle of a trade. That was the last time I ever traded, but I was in the middle of a trade. It was like a $3.5 million trade. It went against me by like 30 cents right away. That's like 30 grand. I didn't care. I have a tolerance of about 50 grand, and then I usually puke them up, take my losses. But I had ways to go, and all of a sudden my heart started freaking out. The top, I don't know if you know what AFib is, but my heart rate went up to 260. I had, it was really bad. And so they had to shock me back to a normal heartbeat. So they knock you out. They give you something to bite on. I put you in a padded gurney, and I know that electricity was a lot because I was all burned. They put a patch on the front of my chest and one on the back, and I had big burn marks. So I have a feeling they really cranked that thing up when they zap you. But anyway, I came out okay, and my wife and Mary said, "You're never looking at a screen again. I can't do this again." Anyway, I'm dying. I'm in AFib. My heart rate's racing. We're blowing through red lights. Cop pulls up next to us. Mary said, "My husband's having a heart attack. Get him to the hospital." We got a police escort. It was like out of the movies. And all I told her the whole car ride was all the loans I gave to people. I figured I was dying, and I'm like, well, she should at least know I loaned out all this money. It was a lot, but it didn't matter. So I got in there and I said, "You've got to get me out of that trade. It's now like 2:45 and the market's closing." And I said, and she's all worried because the doctors have her worried that he's going to stroke out on us. And I said, "Just do it. Get me out of the trade," because I could wake up in the morning $1 million down. After they zapped me and I woke up and turned on my computer, I had made $38,000 on the trade because of the car ride to the hospital. And well, God, we laughed about that. And that was my last trade, never again. And so that hurt our income quite a bit. People say, "How did you lose so much money? How do you lose more than $10 million?" And I don't know. It happens. It kind of melted in front of me. I was not as sharp as I used to be. The drinking years were bad for me because it was people were taking advantage of me and stealing. And they knew I didn't care. I just didn't care about anything. I was so sick with alcoholism. It's amazing how many people take advantage of that. They see the weakness, but they took me. But that's okay. Actually, it's not okay, but they did, and it happened. And I'm going to mention names. And the reason I'm going to mention names is they should be mentioned. These are bad dudes. These guys did bad things. They're dishonest, horrible people for the sake of money. What you're going to realize, or what you're probably going to observe with me is, I didn't give a shit about the money from the beginning. I don't give a shit now. I didn't know what real happiness was. I was drowning in alcohol and exorbitant things and eating too much and rich foods and just living like a pig, just a rich asshole. And that was never me, but the money that'll make you crazy. Okay, leaving the beach. So I made a lot of the money was made in real estate. A lot of the money was made in restaurants. A lot of it was made in trading. I don't know if it's a third, but real estate took a lot of it away at the end. I had some bad deals. I had bought our friend's house. They built that house for $10 million, and it was unbelievable. And we were just guests in that house over the years, and I used to say to my wife, that is the best house in Chicago. It is so cool. Big French chateau, indoor, outdoor pool, 6-car indoor garage. I mean, everything. Just think of elevator, all 4 floors. Anyway, our friends went broke, and the house became available. And I said, I'm not in that range. That's crazy money. Real estate tax is $104,000 a year. And the realtors knew I took deals that were distressed, and I would do those kind of deals. And they came to me when it was at 6 million or something. I said, no, I'm a bottom feeder. Wait till it gets down. Call me if it gets to 4 or under 5, notify me. If it gets under 4, I'm interested. Anyway, 6 months goes by, and they call me when it got to 5 million. I said, no touchy. And when it got to 4 million, they were saying they're begging for offers. So I said, okay, 3 million. And they said, go pound sand, which was the right move. Anyway, I ended up paying some haggling back and forth. I paid 3.4 million for it. And I thought, deal of the century. So we lived there for 5 years. We paid the $100,000 in real estate taxes for every year. And I sold it for $3,250,000. So I lost. And I picked up the expenses to run that house for 5 years. Indoor, outdoor pool, there was maintenance, it was thousands and thousands a month just in maintenance, just to keep that thing running. But it didn't matter. We had tons of dough, so I didn't really care. I had $1 million mortgage on that thing, and that's the one I was always. I didn't like those big mortgages, but I figured I gave him 2.4 in cash, and I was told to take $1 million mortgage, so I did. Anyway, so that didn't work out well. The house in let me think about some other deals. We lost on the Highland Park house after years of renting it out. I finally sold it for a loss, and I don't know. I had a few bad runs with real estate, and I got smacked. And I had a few of the restaurants that were just zero performers didn't do well. And they're going to crack you for $1 million each, a bad restaurant. So, three of those. The last one was my third. So 3 out of 10 were bombs. Not good. I don't know. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't.